Hello and welcome to the latest video in the professional VTOL Build Spring/Summer 2025 with 3DXR and the support of Ben, who builds literally dozens and dozens of these things every month for his customers. Now, Ben has had a lot of experience, and I need to say a massive thank you to him for supporting this series. Again, this series is less about every single step you go through. Those series exist already on the channel. It's more about getting Ben to share some of his professional tips and tricks of how he goes through the entire process. I'll put links down below to the 3DXR store. Everything that he's using, he sells there, so you can get it from him if you need it. This time, it's about how you actually Maiden the plane. And then hopefully next time we'll get to a video where he can go through how you would tune it. We've already had a look at how you do the commissioning steps to make sure control surfaces work in the right way, motors are spinning, etc, etc. But this time it's how he goes through the basics to do that first initial Maiden. Again, Maiden flights are not about doing a 10-kilometer trip. It's just about confirming that all the pieces that work on the bench continue to work and function as you'd expect when you get them to the field. So I'll shut up, hand over to Ben, and he can take you through his maidening process.
So today we're going to go and fly the VTOL. So I'm going to go you through some of the steps and the sort of stages before we get airborne. And I'm going to show you these based on my experiences and what's a good sort of process to go about getting ready for your first test flight. So in previous videos we've sort of tested everything inside, we've made sure stuff's going the right way, we've done our sort of calibrations, and what we're going to do now is we're going to get ready to go outside and fly it. So in the field we're going to assemble the drone, but first on this particular model what I like to do is I like to do the compass calibration with the wings off. It just makes it easier to hold it. So I've got the batteries in and I'm going to do our compass calibration. So we're connected to the drone. In this one we use the adhere link, which is connected to our laptop over Wi-Fi, and we command the compass calibration in Mission Planner in our initial setup and compass calibration. It's important that we spin the drone on each axis, so I like to think of sort of 6 axes where we've got a left, a right, a top, a bottom, nose up, nose down, do a 360 in each of these axes, and then sometimes you have to keep them a little bit further if it's missed a spot. So when you do a compass calibration, you should be far away from any magnetic interference, and also be cautious as what you might have on your body, if it's watches, belts, magnets in your pockets, just those sort of things. So once we perform the compass calibration, we'll then assemble the drone fully in the field. So the fighter that we built in the series is quite nice, and it sort of pushes together a toolless assembly, but you must assemble it with the batteries disconnected. So we've had it powered up to do the compass calibration, but we want to unpower it in order to fully assemble it. So we'll click the wings on and tail, we'll make sure it's securely connected and there's nothing blocking those joints, and then we must do the center of gravity. So on the fighter it's really nice that we have little markers underneath the wing that you can feel with your fingers, and you can also lift it up and get the balance point. And what we want is a little bit of nose forward when we've got our batteries positioned in the right place. So in our example here, the batteries are quite far back, but that's because we don't have any additional payload. It is just an empty drone, if you like. Then we're ready to sort of take our staged approach into testing. So we have our adhere link set up, and we have a few flight modes available. So we have Q hover and Q loiter. We have fly-by-wire A, fly-by-wire B. We also have an RTL. We've got an auto mode for future use doing missions, and we've got a loiter. So this is a fixed wing loiter. This is flying in circles where the center is sort of locked in position. Now we do need to use some other modes in our setup, but I don't allocate them to a switch. So for example, we are going to test the control surfaces movement in manual mode, but we don't want the user to have a button to manual mode because it could be catastrophic. And in a VTOL, that is a mode that can catch people out. So for example, if you were hovering in, say, Q loiter and you switch to manual, that is one of the modes where it won't perform a transition. It will initially stop the VTOL motors instantly, and you will most likely plow into the ground. So it's things like that we don't want to make easily available to the customer, but it can be commanded through the touchscreen. It can be commanded through your computer that you've linked up here. And we use manual to test the full servo movement in this initial stage of sort of our first test flight. So manual mode allows the rudder, for example, to move fully with the control stick and full deflection on ailerons and elevators. After that test is performed, we don't really use manual mode unless you had a very specific reason to, and you would only go into it when you're in forward flight after a transition. So you may wish to do stall testing or more elaborate procedures. See what does it fly like in manual. Is the airplane sort of stable and flying as you'd expect? But for most users, we sort of hide that mode from them. We'll also use Q stabilized. So when we very first hover this, we want Q stabilized. Now I'll just simply command that from the ground control station. So not assign a button to it because it won't be as readily used on this particular one. This is a bit of a training aircraft, so we want some quite simple flight modes. But for initial getting off the ground, Q stabilize is a very good way to do it. It's using less assistance, so it's not trying to hold it tight or heading, but it's providing a level of stabilization. The aircraft will also perform a bit faster to your stick inputs and to throttle inputs. So it's a safe way to do that initial hover is in Q stabilize. Now that we're fully assembled on the ground and I've performed the control surface checks in manual, I'll go to Mission Planner and I will do a motor test. So we've got setup, optional hardware, and we're on the motor test screen. Now this is a 4+1. It's essentially a quad for the motor configuration. So the testing we will do is round the clock with A, B, C and D. Now I know from our internal testing that the motors start at 6% in my case. So I'll work my way around A, looking for that motor to spin, B, C and D. And what we're seeing there is the motors have gone in a clockwise direction. They've all sort of come on as expected. Same sounding sort of noise. So we're sort of starting at the same percentage. We know our control surfaces work. We did check the front motors inside. We're getting readings from our compass, our airspeed, and we're not getting any errors in the hood in Mission Planner. So we are ready to perform our first hover. So we're on pretty much stock settings here, and we'll perform a hover by commanding Q stabilize and then arming the drone. And what we want to be ready for here is anything unexpected. So in Q stabilize we can kill the throttle and it will come down very quick. So the first thing I like to do is just arm and disarm to make sure that functionality is working. So we'll carry out an arming check in Q stabilize and not raise the throttle, just hold to the other side and disarm. Now what we want to know there is at least we can sort of shut it off just in case there's anything wrong. A common reason why it might not be able to disarm could be from excess movement of the plane on the ground, so it's bouncing around with the wind, or it could be that you're getting a high airspeed reading. Now that could be a result that you haven't performed the pre-flight calibration, or on some of the sort of newer heated airspeeds, they sort of heat up and give a high reading, then it comes back down again once they reach temperature. So if, for example, your airspeed is giving a reading of something like over 10 towards 15 meters a second on the ground, that will stop you from disarming. And if it is just the case that you haven't performed a pre-flight calibration, if you perform that and you get it below the usual readings, it will disarm. So that's the most common reason you see there why you can't disarm it after this simple check. So now that we've discovered that we can arm and disarm it, let's go into our first hover. Okay, so we've took off now in Q stabilize. This is the first flight in a set of sort of default parameters. It is quite windy today for this flight, so we are seeing saw quite a bit of ground effect, so it's a little bit shakier than normal. And then also in the hover, took a little bit to settle, but we are being sort of battered a little bit with quite strong winds here, approaching 10 meters a second. Now, we will perform a VTOL Quicktune. So that is a step using a script, and we've loaded the script onto the aircraft, and we're going to carry that out in Q loiter. So we initially took off in Q stabilize, Then we progress to Q hover. So what Q hover does is that adds in the barrow, so it's going to hold its height, but it's still going to drift in the wind. So it's quite windy today, so the aircraft is being pushed around a bit. And we're going to test Q loiter. Now Q loiter will start to hold its GPS position. So as soon as you go into that mode, it's going to start to hold it in position. And you can see with the wind today that it is, the plane is sort of fighting towards the wind. So the VTOL Quicktune script, we program that to activate on a button. And this is different if anybody's ever used auto tune in the past. So there is an auto tune available for both multi-rotor and quad planes. So on quad planes it's called Q auto tune. In that particular mode, it can give good results, but it can also be quite aggressive in how it's performed. So it is rapidly flicking the drone from sort of side to side, forward and backwards. The success rate is a little bit mixed. It can make some things worse, some things better. The idea with the Quicktune script is that it incrementally raises the PIDs until it detects sort of shaking and vibration, and then it backs them off a bit. So the idea is the aircraft doesn't go through any extreme movement, cranks up the PIDs, you'll start to see oscillation and vibration, and it's going to back them down. And let's go through the axis of roll, pitch and yaw, and it gives you a good level of tune that is way better than the sort of default settings. We assigned Quicktune to a single button, the equivalent of a 2-position switch. So what it's done is 10 seconds after we performed this Quicktune, it has now saved those new values. So what we're going to do is a little bit of a sanity check. We're going to land, and then we're going to take off again, and what we should see is a bit of an improvement in how it responds to stick input, how it sort of handles the bounce back. You might on some aircraft hear a very different change in the sound of the motors. So a poorly tuned aircraft can actually sound noisier. So on some aircraft we've tuned in the past, there's a sort of night and day difference. It suddenly sounds much gentler, more efficient. And that can simply be to having a bad tune on your aircraft initially. Okay, so we've done a level of tuning in the copter mode. What we now need to do is go into a fixed flight. So the plan is we'll take off in Q loiter, we'll get up to a height approaching 50 meters, and then we'll go into a forward transition. Now for this first initial flight, we're going to keep everything nice and simple. So we're just going to go and fly around in fly-by-wire B. So that's a mode that holds a height, and the purpose of this is just, we have built quite a few of these in the past, so they're quite predictable, we know what to expect, but we're just going to keep it nice and simple. That we're just going to fly some circuits and fly by wire B. It is a bit windy today, so a bit limited as to what I like to do in this weather. The best tuning results are done on the stillest days, so for the purpose of making this video, we'll go to a fixed wing flight. We won't carry out the fixed wing tuning today, but we'll show you that in another video. So we will do some circuits and fly-by-wire B. So we're just maintaining a height of about 60-70 meters and performing some simple circuits. We're looking for anything unusual in the aircraft. When we make a turn, is the tail sort of moving too much in, too much out? But overall, for a windy day today, the aircraft is pretty smooth and steady and quite predictable. While we're in this maiden flight in a fixed wing mode, we also have airspeed auto calibration turned on. So there's a parameter for that. You turn it on. When the aircraft detects that it's flying in circles, it will start to calibrate the airspeed ratio. So by flying a complete circle, you can average your airspeed and your ground speed and get this ratio, which is what's needed the first time you use the airspeed sensor. So this one is fitted with the Matek DLVR sensor, and we expect to see ratios are normally about 1.7, 1.8. So that's calibrating as we're doing this flight. Okay, so we've seen it fly now, and it all looks pretty good for a maiden. There's definitely some bits that can be improved in tuning. There's also some bits that can be improved on the copter side, but we'll cover those in a tuning specific video. And for this first flight, what we're going to do, we're going to land it, and on our back transition, we're going to first go into Q hover, and that starts the back transition. So those VTOL motors are going to come on, and it's going to sort of slide towards us. And when we get a bit nearer, we'll then go into Q loiter. Now Q loiter is the GPS mode, so what we'll see is it will stop the aircraft And the reason why we don't go into that straight away on a Maiden, it can sometimes be quite aggressive in how it stops the aircraft. So by going Q hover, it slides in, and then by going into loiter at the end, it sort of stops it and locks it in position, and then it's much easier for us to sort of land it, reposition it and then land. So what I like to do on these Maidens and on first flights of these aircraft, keep everything as simple as possible. We're not trying to do acrobatics on day one. We're just trying to get the aircraft in the air, make sure there's nothing crazy going on, make sure everything's been built right, everything's responding in the right way, there's no strange behaviour to the aircraft due to its sort of structure, its build, centre of gravity, anything like that. So keeping it as simple as possible, and then incrementally sort of stepping bits up, improving the tune, improving the tune on the ground. So we'll touch on those bits in the next video. We're going to look at further tuning of the multi-rotor aspect, the Q side. We'll look at some of the filtering options, so applying a static notch for this particular aircraft. We'll look at some of the bigger parameters that affect how it behaves, how it responds to stick inputs. So things like yaw speed, like how fast it can rotate, which on this particular aircraft we actually want to slow down how much you can yaw it. On a foam VTOL there is quite a lot of flex, so if we can restrict that amount to a user, it's less likely to get into issues. Too much yaw, for example, on one of these can result in excessive twisting in the frame. We can look at how fast we want to be able to roll and pitch, how fast should it be able to climb, and then when we're in the air there's a lot of fixed wing tuning we can do, initially with an auto tuning method. So a fixed wing auto tune is where you apply the stick inputs and it's going to sort of learn and it's going to adjust its tuning, and then we can look at some of the other major parameters that are affecting the fixed wing flight of this aircraft. But for our Maiden today, on a windy day, we've achieved quite a bit here. We've improved its tuning in the quad plane, and we've also observed that it's flying pretty well. We've calibrated our airspeed sensor, we initially did our compass calibration, and overall it's a good start for this first flight.
So hopefully that was fun to watch, and if you are interested in this, you maybe have picked up a few tips and tricks for how Ben does these things. Do stay tuned. The next video, and probably the last one in this series, is going to be how to tune this thing so that it flies really, really well. As you saw on the default settings, it flies pretty well, but there will be improvements by going through the tuning process using a Lua script and some other bits and pieces, and Ben's going to cover that next time. Thank you for watching my video. Check out the playlist, and adding Painless 360 to your search terms will help you find my content. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. You can support the time I spend here answering questions and helping others by using the links in the video description.